just found cheese tip in my hair.
Are we recording?
We are recording.
So, podcast expert, what are we talking about?
Well, first of all, I think you need to move closer to the mic. You are so green at this.
I am. I'm a newbie.
I thought it would be cool. I don't know. We're big animal people. And, okay, by we, I mean me.
Yeah. I'm
a big animal person. And we just kind of lost the last of our OG. I consider them the OG 3. Our cat, Riley, who loved Andy.
We're real close.
I say that with a lot of sarcasm. He despised Andy.
Anyone that knows me knows he was my sworn enemy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did not get along.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big cat person, but I love this lady here. So we bought all these animals before we had kids.
And your kids. Well, that's true. The kids weren't even in the picture.
My kids, yeah.
Well, our kids. But I'm saying, I guess we did get these 3 before they were, which is why I consider them the OG 3. Yeah. So we started with Daisy when we were dating. And that was back in, was that 2007?
Yes. Yeah.
I found her on Craigslist, and that was before Craigslist was, I'm sure it was sketchy, but it wasn't as scary.
No, it wasn't bad back then.
Yeah. So we got Daisy. I found her, and he had gone away to Georgia Southern. He had abandoned me, and I was very, very sad. And
I thought this was about pets, not relationships.
Well, I mean, it all ties in.
I didn't sign up for this, guys.
It's a therapy session right here.
Get back into my Dr. Pepper. So anyway.
I found Daisy on Craigslist, and I wasn't allowed to have a dog. So I sent, I guess, the picture of her to Andy, and I was like, hey, do you want a dog? And somehow you convinced your parents that it would be okay, because she ended up spending most of her time while he was at Georgia Southern. Well, not really.
No,
she was with you, I guess a lot.
Me, but yeah. No, I went away to college, and then, I don't know, shortly after we got the dog, went down to Georgia Southern, and then I would come home pretty much every weekend to see this girl. And I would just dump the dog at my parents. So they went from not allowing me and my brother to have any pets, any dogs for
Well, there was the turtle
forever.
of...
Well, we can get to that.
Oh, okay, yeah. There was
pretty much a real pet at all in any capacity. And then I would dump this dog off on the weekends and go see her and go hang out and go see my friends. And and somehow
and his
it
dad,
won over my parents' hearts.
Yeah, his dad, who is not an animal person, he says that she peed on his floor right in front of his favorite chair, and he fell in love. Isn't that pretty much it? Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, his parents fell in love with Daisy. She was a little lab mix. And then the following year, I had moved into an apartment by myself, and he was still, were you back yet? I don't remember if you were back from Georgia Southern or if you were still going, but he was coming over and hanging out, a lot and stuff like that. And somehow I talked him into, again, another Craigslist find. I talked him into going with me to find this little kitten. I think you actually got it for me for Christmas.
Amazing how that worked out.
I just kept sending him listings and was like, what do you think about this one? I think you should get one. I think I'm going to go get this kitten, and would you give it to me for Christmas? So he did. And I think we got little Riley. This is 2008. So I think we got him towards the beginning of December. And I lost my train of thought.
And that was number 2.
Yeah, that was number 2. But that was also right before Christmas, and he proposed that Christmas. And then the last of the OG 3 animals that we had was Knox. He was our golden retriever. And I grew up always wanting a golden retriever puppy under the Christmas tree. And it didn't happen. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. And so we got married in July of 2009. And I'm pretty sure I just like talked about it like for months ahead of Christmas, our first Christmas together, and was like, I really want a puppy under the tree. I've always wanted a golden retriever, like Shadow from Homeward Bound. And we found one. And we got him a few weeks before Christmas. And I remember we got him. So we had 3 animals at that point. We had Daisy, Riley, and now Knox as a brand new puppy. And I remember like around Christmas time looking at you and being like, wouldn't it be wild if like we got pregnant and we had a baby in this craziness?
Amazing idea. Yeah.
And then a month later we did. It was not planned, but we did. And we had Brooke. And so from then on out, our kids have never, up until the time that they have all passed at this point, they have never known life without any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made me like really reflective. I don't know. We just had to say goodbye to Riley yesterday, and I will not cry. I will get through this without crying. And it felt like just kind of the end of an era. I feel like pets, I think something that keeps coming to mind, I feel like our pets hold different chapters of like our story in our life. And I would assume that that's kind of like how it is for a lot of people. But it feels like when they pass away, it's like you're closing that chapter and on to a new one. So I don't know. It was really sad. But Daisy was the bane of my existence for a while. She was all about Andy. She did not want to listen to me because she was kind of the primary. I mean, I was your girl, but like she lived with you before I did.
Yeah, you kept coming and going. Daisy stuck with me. She was the first girl.
I kept coming and going.
Yeah, we were dating. We were young and dumb.
Anyway.
So Daisy would listen to me, but she wasn't a big fan of you.
She was not. She would not listen to me.
And then Riley was coincidentally not a big fan of me. And
Knox loved everybody.
Yep. But then Brooke came along, and as Brooke got a little bit older, she really became way more interested in Riley and in the cat than the 2 dogs. So
she's definitely a cat girl.
That was the hardest thing, seeing her kind of let him go.
Ugh.
And having your kids go through that for the first time, because we didn't get to, because our parents, didn't really let us have real pets. We would go find a turtle or a caterpillar or something like that.
But that's not entirely true from my end, because I had a cat that like adopted us. Like Mama Kitty just kind of showed up on our porch, and then she was just an outside cat that we just kind of took care of. Actually, my grandparents ended up taking care of her a lot too, because we lived next door to each other. And then there was the puppy that my dad bought. Well, we didn't even buy. She was free. When I was a kid, my mom was at work one evening, and my dad and my brother and I had all gone to Walmart. And there was a lady that was just like giving away these little lab mix puppies outside of Walmart. And Tyler and I begged and begged and begged. And my dad is a pet person. And yeah, so we begged for like, could we just hold a puppy? And he was like, maybe on the way out. And so we went into the store and walked back outside. And we were like, please, 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 can we just hold one? And so I picked one up, and then I did the, please, Dad, look at how cute. Like, we'll take care of them. I promise. Like, they won't be a big deal. Like, we'll do all the work. And he caved. And that phone call to my mom at work later that evening was interesting. My mom was not too happy, but we named her Shadow. We have a Shadow now. But that was the first Shadow. And she ended up having a litter of puppies. And then we kept one of those puppies for a while. But all of my pets just kind of ran away. Like, we never really had to go through sadly, like, the euthanasia process. Like, I'm glad I didn't have to as a kid. But with Daisy, it was kind of jarring for both of us because we had never experienced that.
Yeah, well, all three of those, as they got older, we unfortunately had to put them all down for different reasons. But like with Daisy, for me, when we got ready to do that, she just physically was gone, mentally was gone, not doing well. And then during the time of putting her down, that was just very hard to see that happen. Almost like her kind of snap back for a minute into being a puppy, wondering what was going on. And then Knox, was super hard because that was your first Christmas present as a wife. Yeah.
I loved him, and I'm really, really trying hard not to look at golden retriever puppies.
But it never fails. We were at the vet yesterday, and we walked out and saw one.
Yes, actually, so after we lost Knox, we had to go through the painful process of putting him to sleep. And we walked out. This was back at the beginning, February of 2024, so last year. We walked out of the office, and as we were going out of the building, this young girl walked in with a golden retriever puppy. And I'm like sobbing, and Andy grabs my arm, and he's trying to like kind of veer me away so I don't see it and don't have a reaction. But I like kind of swatted him away, and I was like, give me a minute. And I walked over to the girl, and I probably looked like, I don't know, crazy, but I was streaming tears, and I was like, is there any way, we just lost our golden. Is there any way I can just pet your puppy? And she was so sweet, and she was like, absolutely, and so, yeah, I was really thankful because I got my puppy fix for a second, and I felt like it was just, I don't know, I felt like it was just a sweet gift from the Lord, like, full circle. You remember back to where you started.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we lost Riley yesterday. And walk out, and there's another golden at the vet. I'm like, I don't ever see goldens except for when I'm sad and crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, and each experience was so hard. It was really hard, like for different reasons. I think Knox's experience was the most peaceful, ironically, because he was the one I was the most attached to. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, you don't think about that when you get them. You're not really thinking about the end when you get them all. And then we got them all they're all a year apart. So it made sense. Like, unfortunately, our son the other day was like, I'm so tired of doing this. I'm like, well, buddy, I'm sorry. We didn't think about this when we all kind of got them around the same time, that they're all going to kind of go at the same time. So it was sad, but I love animals.
So what animals do we have now? And what's next?
Ooh, what's next? Now we have chickens. We have 2 dogs that you know of. And
sure, I had one.
We are down to 1 cat, Oscar. And he's gotten a lot of love from our oldest daughter lately, the last 24 hours.
She's all about him right now.
Mm-hmm. And 2 African dwarf frogs.
That was our fix to hold our son off a couple of years ago. He was begging for a chocolate lab. Mm-hmm. And we told him, no, we can't do it right now. And anyway, we ended up getting him a couple of frogs. And then this past year in the fall, on his birthday, we caved and we got him a chocolate lab. So, yeah.
We didn't cave. That was the one we were probably most prepared for.
Sure.
We were. All the other ones were spontaneous decisions, I will admit.
Yep.
But Max, we were the most prepared for. And I feel like we had the most, like we were the most reasonable. Like it wasn't just a spontaneous decision.
You did a little more research.
Yeah, we really thought about it. And we had just gone through the puppy phase with Shadow. She's our Aussie Pyrenees dog. That our oldest daughter was like, she really wanted an Australian Shepherd. And that was another Craigslist find.
Got to get away from Craigslist.
Craigslist is not, not the way to go.
So we ended up with a Australian Shepherd Pyrenees mix.
Yeah.
Which is basically a large, protective
Fluffy.
Australian Shepherd. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very fluffy. And I remember when we first brought her in to the vet for her first appointment, we were like, yeah, you know, she's an Australian Shepherd. And they were looking at her paws and they're like, are you sure? And I was like, well, that's what the lady said. And we did the little DNA thing. And I think she's like 60% Pyrenees and like 40% Australian Shepherd. She definitely looks like an Australian Shepherd in the face. Like she's got the coloring, but she's very fluffy. And she makes me laugh because you can see the two different breed instincts like fighting each other. I think Australian Shepherds are notoriously very loyal and they're very much like they want to please. And Pyrenees are very independent. They kind of want to be left alone to do their job. They're a little more strong-willed. And so one of the first things I noticed about her was like you call her or you tell her to do something and she will pause. And I feel like now, knowing the difference between the two breeds, like I see her wheels turning and she's like, am I going to lean into my Pyrenees side and be like defiant, or am I going to people please? Like she's always battling that, which is relatable.
Yeah, I know some people like that.
Hey, I'm very much a people pleaser.
I love your independence.
So yeah, so we have her, and then we have Max, who is a nutcase, and they're 4 years apart, right?
Yeah, I guess she's 4 and he's about
3
8,
and a
9
half,
months.
maybe.
So yeah, not
3.5
quite.
years apart.
But yeah, he's a solid chocolate lab, and we sent him off for training, which went great. And he does really good when he's under supervision, but when he's unsupervised, he gets bored. So we've had a few issues with him lately, where we had a propane grill out back, and one Saturday morning, our oldest daughter's like, hey, I think he's sniffing the grill up underneath it. So we go out there and look and pull
like underneath
the
cover
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had decided to remove about that much of the actual gas line.
Not remove, ingest.
And eat it.
Yes.
So we couldn't find it anywhere. He ate it, and then
we found it.
Yeah, we found it later. We'll leave it at that. And he's tried to remove the hose bibs from the side of the house.
He ate the AC line.
Yep, he did.
A brand new AC unit, and he decided he was going to eat like the foam, and then he started to chew through the wiring.
Yep.
That was fun.
He crimped the wires, and then a day later, and then he ate all the foam kind of insulation pieces, what it looks like, around the poles of the trampoline. So when the kids are jumping, so he started eating that and ripping that off.
But it's not like ground level. He has to stand up and pull it down. So
big fan of foam.
Yes.
Yeah.
That. One day I looked out the upstairs window into the backyard, and we have like Edison bulb lights hung around our fire pit, and he was yanking on the cord. It had been kind of tacked up like on a tree. Like he kind of pulled the cord, Andy had pulled the cord up so they couldn't get to it. And he was trying to pull them down, and he destroyed those lights. He
ripped the plug end off, and we don't know if he ate that or not. But so he's got a stomach like a rock. So he's an adventure. Yeah,
he gets bored very easily. So,
and I just think, last year life was too relaxing for us. So we decided, we like living with a little more anxiety and stress, keeps us on our toes. So we don't want to be bored. So what's next?
Well, you asked. Yeah. What's next? You answer it.
No, I haven't been leading this ship in a long time. We know that. So
that's not true. If that were,
you tell me.
If that were the case, like if I was really calling all the shots, we would truly live in a zoo.
Yeah.
So
that's scary to think about, people. I don't know what that'd be like.
What's next?
I don't know.
Probably another cat at some point.
We'll see.
We were very adamant last year. No more indoor cats. Like, nobody enjoys doing the litter box. Nobody likes to keep up with it. Although I will say Brooke is amazing. She's actually very responsible, and she has taken it all over. She's taken on the responsibility. And so I can't say that she's not doing her part. Like, she definitely does. But it is a lot of work. And then the more animals we get, the more we have to make arrangements when we go out of town, which is always, I'm really grateful for awesome neighbors. And my brother, who has come and watched them a couple times, and he had a little run-in with Riley.
He did before he passed, yeah.
Yes, when he was still feisty.
Riley didn't like really any males, but he definitely didn't like somebody he didn't know. And so one weekend your brother was watching him trying to get to the front door and leave, and Riley stood between the two of them. And so, her brother opened up a closet to try to kind of put a door between the two of them. Well, he ran in the closet. And then in the chaos, I think he tried to get him back out of the closet with a broom handle or something like that. Broke glass pieces in the closet.
Yeah, we had picture frames in there. He broke.
And then somehow he wrestles the cat back out and he goes to work. Then not sure what our other dog, Shadow, ate, but threw up all over the bed. So we put the bed out back and then taped a note.
No. He didn't tape.
Oh, you tell this part.
We came in and he had taken an envelope and licked the seal on the envelope and stuck it on our sliding glass door. And I think it just said, Shadow threw up. Like, that was it. There was no context. We had not talked. I'm like,
yep.
Like, in the house? Like, where? And then we finally find her bed outside on the back patio. But the thing I got annoyed about was he didn't find tape. He used the seal, the sticky part of the envelope. I had to scrape that thing off the window. So it was like, we were tired. And I was like, the most annoying part of the whole thing was just the stupid envelope. And anyway, so we've since asked him and he's like, no, thanks. I'm good. Like, it's okay.
Yep. He's super, super kind and always helpful, but he's decided to bow out of the animal help. So, yeah. Which we can understand.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We just kind of constantly have a homeward bound situation going on when we leave town. So,
well, they don't run away.
Yeah,
that would. Oh
That's
gosh,
true.
that would be crazy. Yeah. There was that one time that we lost Oscar. Do you remember that? It was like a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
We looked all over the house, and he normally he would have his favorite hiding spots, but he wasn't in any of the typical spots we would find him. I ended up posting on our neighborhood page a picture of him and was like, I think he may have gotten out when we opened the door, which wasn't like him. Our cats really they weren't really interested in going outside. But we had looked everywhere and we could not figure out where he went. And then finally, hours later, we found him behind some books in a desk. There was a cubby part of the desk and there were books in it, and he had wedged himself behind the books and he was perfectly content back there.
Yeah. Another time we were remodeling the bathroom, which took too long, but anyway, we had started to kind of remove cabinets and everything, and there was a section of the wall that was open, and he managed to get himself back in behind the plumbing,
the tub,
and the tub itself.
Inside the tub.
Yeah, hide inside the old garden tub. That took a few hours to find him.
That happened twice because he got in the hall one too. Yeah. We had that open because we were connecting pipes, and he got in the cabinet and got behind the tub in the hall bathroom because the walls touch or whatever. And yeah. That was when your parents were here, and we were up late at night, banging around trying to get him out, and your parents were trying to sleep downstairs. It was a whole mess. Now that we tell these stories,
don't know who's listening to this, but I don't know if anybody needs any pet advice, but yeah, just scroll through Instagram. Just look at other people's.
Now that we're talking about all of this, I'm like, it really is kind of chaos.
A little bit.
Let's do it again.
But, and here we are, 15 years later.
Anyway, we just thought we would do a bonus episode and share some of our favorite animal stories from our own experiences and talk about, like I said, the OG3. They were special. They were good ones. And I don't know, it'll be really sad. Each time, you come home, you go through all the first time you don't have to feed them, the first time you walk into a room and you expect them there and they're not. And so it's like the first day after having to go, put them to sleep, it just all kind of hits. And I don't know that it's gotten easier each time. This is our third time going through it. But I think that it's a little, like, we just know what to expect, I think. Maybe that's a little more helpful. Because with Daisy, we were just kind of lost, I feel like. And she was a really hard situation just at the end in general because she had, I think, what's called doggy dementia. So it was hard to see her sometimes aware and sometimes like sometimes she was fully Daisy and you could see that she knew who you were and she was aware of where she was. But then there were other times that she just was glazed. Her eyes were glazed over and she just had no idea. So I don't know. That was really hard, going through all of that in the end. And I think it was also hard because she didn't have really any physical signs that were leading us. Like she was eating, she had stopped kind of eating mostly. She was eating a little bit. But she was able to walk around, move around. And then at the very end, she did have a tumor pop up that really made it obvious that it was physically time. But yeah, that first one I think was just really jarring. And I think too, I remember putting so much effort into trying to keep her, trying to make
sure. Help her keep going.
Yeah. I remember she had a whole pharmacy of prescriptions and I was tracking her, when she's supposed to take what. And I was pushing so hard. I was trying everything to get her to eat. But we just didn't know what that process looked like. And then the second time with Knox, he had physical, limitations. And that was actually, I don't even know if that was partly worse because he was mentally all there. Mm-hmm. And he was so loving and loyal to the very end. I remember, we had to put him to sleep because he lost the use of his back legs. And I mean, he's a golden. They're really prone to hip dysplasia. It's pretty par for the course, I think. That's pretty common.
He was extremely tall.
He was a very
for whatever
large,
reason. But
he was very tall and
people
large.
Would see him and they're like, wow, that's the biggest golden we've ever seen.
He was so pretty though. But I remember we were sitting on the back porch and this was when his the first time his back legs had really gone out. Mm-hmm. And I think we had a bed, one of his beds on the back porch, and we were sitting there talking, and I was just sobbing because I just kind of knew in my gut we were getting down to the end, and I was sitting maybe, I don't know, 4 feet away from him in a chair. He's laying on the bed, and he was so good and so sweet. He I can do this. I'm not going to cry. But he dragged himself, with his front 2 legs, he dragged himself over and laid his head in my lap because I was upset. You cannot convince me that he did not know. He was so concerned when we were always up, if something was going on, he knew and he would come and he would do that. He would lay his head on you and just let you pet him. I remember him doing that with the kids. He would do that with Noah a lot. Yeah, he was if Noah was having a hard time emotionally or something, he would go to Noah. He was so good. I don't know that I have a lot of recent sweet memories of Riley. He was kind of a jerk, except for with Brooke. He loved her.
Yep. That was his.
He tolerated everyone
girl.
else. And in the beginning, I was his person. I had no idea when we got him back in 2008 that I was buying my future daughter a cat.
Yeah.
But at some point that transition happened and he was always nice enough to me. I mean, well, I don't know. He was a jerk. He was a very cantankerous and cranky old man that just didn't have a lot of patience.
No.
But anyway, but the fact that he let Brooke do anything, like she would dress him up and put little bow tie collars on him. And I swear he was scowling the whole time. If cats can scowl, he was not happy about it, but he let her. And
no, it was good to see her have that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Anyway, for those listening, this was just a little bonus conversation I figured we would have just about our pets because they are part of our story and
timing seemed good to maybe have a little bit of closure.
Yeah, closure. And then I also wanted to introduce you guys to Andy. Maybe I can have him on here more. I really want to, but it's not his favorite thing, I don't think.
Well, I'm not a natural like you are, girl. You're kicking butt, and I'm proud of you.
I'm not sure about that, but
yeah, I'll go back to swinging a hammer. But
well, bye, guys. Thank you for listening to us go on and on about our pets, but we love you all. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you for having me.